All right, so we are live now. Today is Wednesday, February 22nd, 2 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. This is Annabelle Pacheco's weekly real estate investing call that she hosts every Wednesday. She's on a plane right now, I think in Florida somewhere, so she might be landing sometime soon and she might be able to join us. So if she does, we look forward to that. So today we are excited to have Christine Fluke with us and Lynn Saldivar. And these ladies have basically they have a investing company based out of Florida, and we're going to learn more about their business and how they got started, and just any kind of information and educational tips that we can get from you ladies today. So, Chris, I'm going to ask you first. How did you get started in your investment in real estate? What brought you to the real estate market?
Gotcha. So I started in real estate in 2004. Basically, you could show up with shorts and flip-flops because I live in Florida, and you could sell a property because that's just the way the market was.
Right.
Since then, I graduated, I guess is what you would say, in 2006, and I started selling commercial real estate. So instead of contacting, let's call it expired listings and looking for an owner of a home, I just changed the word home into property, and I started contacting owners of smaller multifamily, anywhere from, let's call it 4, 6, 10, 12, 20 units. And instead of, like I said, saying home, I would contact them and say, here's my script. Hi, Mr. Owner. I'm sure you're aware your property came up on the market as an expired listing. I was calling to find out when you plan on hiring the right agent for the job of selling your property. So from there, Mike Ferry, absolutely. So from there, I just grew into other asset classes, warehouses, retail shopping centers, and larger apartment buildings. And in 2015, I started investing in real estate. In 2019, I started doing syndications in large multifamily properties, as well as this opportunity that we're talking about today, the container retreat at Canyon Lake, which is a short-term rental project that Lynn and our other team, or should I say partners, invested in.
Wow, so exciting. So you've gone from different phases now to where you're at today. And basically, I think that's the learning curve that we all experience when we're starting to get into real estate. And whether you're starting off as a real estate agent or a buyer or a seller, or in your case, you started gradually flowing into more of the investment side. And that's where you really start to learn and deal with some of the challenges as you're going through each phase, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm sure, Lynn, you can hop in here and talk a little bit about what the investment side has been for you.
Yeah, we'd love to hear about how you got started, Lynn, and what brought you into the real estate investment world.
Definitely. So my story is a little bit different. My husband and I actually have corporate America background, and we both come from tech sales, from different tech companies, bounced around to different software companies, from major corporations to also startups. So that gave us an idea of how to run businesses end to end as entrepreneurs ourselves. As a side project, we were investing into real estate, started with single family homes, then got into multifamily properties. Along the way, somewhere in between the two, we actually started converting a lot of our single family homes into short-term rentals, which gave us a niche experience into understanding how the short-term rental space works, all the apps and all the technologies that work in between, and how to optimize and run them efficiently. As of a few years ago, I got laid off after I had my last baby from my last software company, and we just decided to make this decision and this leap to not have me go back to work. I said, give me a year to figure it out, and from there, let me figure out how to monetize, cover my paycheck from my W-2 world with real estate. And it really far exceeded our expectations on how far we could go with it. And so from there, we started bridging more partnerships, relationships, conversations with people that are doing real estate through and through. And that's how we landed into this partnership for the container retreat at Canyon Lake.
Wow, so exciting. Some of the details, you mentioned, it's as far as learning the technology. I think that's what really gives everyone an advantage in today's market, is leveraging all of the technology that we have at our fingertips. Because back in the day, you had to go get a contract from, the Realtor Association and then have somebody sign it in person and set up meetings that way. But now, like, we're collaborating here today, learning more about your business and leveraging the power of technology and also the relationships, because the more people that you meet, the more that you connect with people, that's how you're going to find the like-mindedness within the group and see who's going to be a good fit to basically work with in the future. So I love that we're able to have this Zoom today and collaborate here.
So we just have a quick presentation, if I may introduce that to you, Patricia, that Lynn has. So I'm just letting you know, so at whatever time we can
Oh,
bring
sure.
that in, I just want to let you know that we do have that option for you.
Okay, great. We do want to see the presentation, and I just wanted to take a minute to welcome Bill, and he's on the call, Bill Gross.
Hi, Bill, again. Good to see you.
We work together also with Annabelle, so I'm glad he's here on the call today. And yes, we'd love to hear about the presentation and learn more about this opportunity you're talking about with Canyon Lake.
Sure. Christine, am I sharing it or are you sharing it?
No, you please.
Got it. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Container retreat at Canyon Lake.
Perfect. So I think we shared a little enough information about us. What I wanted to go through was basically the vision, the team, information along the acquisitions and how we found the property and how it was sourced, understanding new development as it plays a key part in any sort of real estate transaction. And then I'll definitely want to highlight some lessons learned, current operations as it stands today, and also the next steps and what we're looking to do in the future and with the property, and we'll leave some room for questions and answers as well.
Okay, perfect.
I am curious about everybody else that's on the meeting today, on where everybody's at in their real estate journey and how I guess this information can be better catered to people that are on the call today. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. This call is meant to be, collaborative and participative. So for all of our viewers today, thank you for being here. And, you can put your response in the chat, or if you'd like to just comment on where you're at as far as your investment goals and what you're looking to do basically in the near future.
Yeah, right, Bill, you're shy. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Hi. No, I'm glad to, I run a business as a real estate broker, primarily listing property, probate, legal property. But I make more money than I spend, and I invest the difference. That's how I build my wealth. And a chunk of that I go into real estate. And so because my business is so time consuming and exciting and dramatic, I'd like my investments to be a little more calm. So I'm strictly a limited partner, and I really look for kind of professionally managed multifamily projects, 200 units up with an experienced team is kind of my interest, and I'm more focused where I go visit in my business during the year normally is Florida and Texas. So I look for deals there. I helped launch this call to attract people who may have those kind of deals. I'm always interested in other investments. You never know what gets your fancy, but that's really been my focus.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And I'm just a big fan of Patricia's.
Yeah.
Who isn't?
There you go.
But who isn't?
Thanks.
Fantastic.
Bill.
So if you want me to, or do you just want me to keep talking? Does that sound good?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go through the presentation. And it looks like, let's see, we are getting, some comments here in the chat. So I'll keep an eye on that. If we see any questions pop up, I'll definitely, if it's okay with you, I can just jump in and ask you that question unless you prefer to answer the questions at the end.
Okay.
I'm pretty flexible.
I'm pretty
so
flexible. Yeah.
Okay, so we do have a comment from Julia. So she has a background in commercial real estate investing as far as the funds and the capital. So she's looking for her first investment property to get started as starting her portfolio.
Excellent. Always the first question is like, what area are you looking to do that in? And I guess if we are on multifamily, it's maybe a mixture of that and maybe some different asset types.
Yeah,
And
I think that would be great. I myself, I'm more looking into something of the multifamily space as well. So I think that would be a really good place to start and, things to cover.
should I do that now or should we do that later?
Let's get through the presentation because we have it up on the screen already, and then we can start asking questions towards the end and then talk about some multifamily information and investing.
Perfect.
Because I think it sounds like we're kind of getting more of the newer investing feedback here.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think we're all kind of more experienced in the multifamily space. This project is pretty unique to us in that it's a multifamily property that also highlights the short-term rental world in that space.
Okay.
So jumping into the vision of the property here, what the vision was essentially for camp goers to come around to basically have experience in multifamily and to be able to create a vacation community so that we could all bring our family, our kids, our friends, and our family to that was directly on the lake for just get-togethers. One of the ideas that we had in place was also for boating communities, for small micro weddings. And in addition to that, just to have a place on the water where we can have leverage partnerships with boating companies, and also that we could get guests picked up on the lake, that we could provide, floats and supplies to get in the water, and just so that everyone can enjoy a weekend getaway or a weekday getaway and a retreat from, their regular daily lives. On the property, we have fire pits, we have extra like camping chairs, we have hammocks set up. We're still growing and developing because we just launched this property. And if anybody knows anything about short-term rentals, a lot of the things that you learn are with live operations, right? So there's just so many things that you just don't think of that are on the list to accommodate to, such as, providing at the last minute, firewood for the fire pits, things like that. So a lot of these things have been kind of on the fly where we're like, we need to go get this taken care of immediately type of thing. But other than that, yeah, but the idea is the vision of just that a retreat where people can get away from their 8 to 5, get away from their 20 screens that they're on all the time, and to be able to provide an avenue where you can come in and settle in. And Canyon Lake is actually especially unique in that it's a zero lumens community. So it's an official stargazing community. So what that means is that at night, there are no lights out in the neighborhood, on the lake, or anything, and you can see the stars extremely vividly. And we promote and advocate for people to bring out binoculars and telescopes and whatnot.
Wow, that's exciting. I love that. Because it's not, there's not too many places where you can do that.
Yeah,
really just enjoy and absorb Mother Nature, especially at nighttime.
exactly. And the thing about a zero lumens community is that it generally also promotes for a lower EMF vibe. So it's a lower electronic, I guess, what is it called? EMF is electronic radiation right? So from from everything you have in your house, from your technology, from your modems to all your phones, your laptops, your screens, all this stuff is radiating some sort of electronic wave. And when you're out there, honestly, the vibe and the peaceful aspect of it, without all that, all the electronics around you, just adheres to a better, fulfilling sleep cycle.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one of the things on my list is to bring out actually an EMF reader so that in turn we can actually document it on the website as a low EMF community.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
So putting together the team is probably one of the most key things when you're doing any sort of transaction like this. Just like in multifamily, your key is your team is your key to success. The team we have is a pretty solid team. Most of the people, I would say about at least half of them are based out of Texas, and then there's a handful that are outside of Texas. One of the things that I would highly recommend for anybody putting a team together relative to a multifamily short-term rental community is to find different people with roles and expertise in particular avenues so that everybody knows what lane they excel in, and also overlapping lanes. The other thing that I would also really recommend is to have as many people with boots on the ground as possible. I live within 45 minutes of this property, so I'm probably the closest partner to the site, and I'm also the property manager, right? So, but it can be a lot of work. It's a little bit overwhelming in the beginning, knowing that, hey, somebody's going to complain about one or two things, and you're going to have to drive out there and try to figure things out and make it work. So, and with everyone being so sporadically spread apart, there's really not a lot of, there's really not enough people to begin with to help out in the beginning for everything that's going on. So it's just one of those things that you just do what you can do, and know that with this project, because it was a new developed project, that it's going to take time to get to a resolution for almost any little thing.
Right.
Anything you have to add to that, Christine?
Well, as far as talking about the team members, and yeah, for sure, I totally second that and echo that you want to make sure that you're definitely aligning yourself with the right people. And you were talking about the lanes and what your expertise is, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's so important, no matter where you're starting off at, because you need to know the people that you're working with and their dependability and their reliability, right? So if you do come into an issue, you want to make sure that the person that you're calling on your team is going to be able to do what they said they were going to do and just be available and show up.
For sure.
Right. Right. The other thing I would also notate too is that a short-term rental community is not like a multifamily syndication. It's definitely way more hands-on than a multifamily syndication. Short-term rentals and the clients are just completely different than 12-month term rentals, renters and tenants. So it's just a lot more time and effort to getting launched and getting everything set up, and also to manage everything along the way, even once you are completely set up.
So do you have, Lynn, do you have a team that is basically just focused on the cleaning and the setup once somebody has, you have a tenant that has checked out and then you have a new guest coming in? Do you guys
Yes.
manage the cleaning process, or do you have a separate team that's coming in and cleaning the units for you?
So yes, we have a dedicated cleaning team, but keep in mind that we've probably gone through a couple of them already thus far, right? We contracted with the first team, and that one didn't work out, so we ended up leveraging another team. Handymen and handy people, maintenance people, and your cleaning crew are going to be at a baseline, the partners and vendors that you are going to be relying on the most. So in this particular space, you're going to make sure that you're going to have a positive and strong relationship with these vendors, but you'll also need to find backups and backups and backups just in case life happens and they're not able to fill that position for that day. It's going to be a big leadership role to be a property manager on one of these properties, especially if you're also part owner, right? Because it's managing a ton of relationships and making sure that everybody is getting compensated fairly, promptly, and that they're executing on the job like they should be, and making sure that their schedules are up to date as soon as possible.
Right.
Because
And-
one of the things that we live off of, or should I say any short-term operator, are the reviews. So
Sure.
that's why it's important that Lynn's bringing up all these factors, because that's what, any project or any property, survives on, is the reviews.
Right. And just like, I mean, I vacation myself as well. And even if I'm staying at a prominent place, like let's say maybe it's a timeshare where you already know you're going to have all of the amenities there, everything should be fully stocked. But people still have bad experiences at some point, right? Doesn't matter what location it is. But I think it's important to, you get the reviews and then people can make a differentiation on the reviews. Was it just something at a service level, or was it the location, or something that you just can't help? Maybe it was the surroundings at that time. And so, as we were talking about with technology, it's so important to have it, in today's world, because it does give us that advantage to see what the reviews are. But it's great that you guys are managing all that as well, because you're staying on top of all of the the moving parts to this new project that you're basically working on right now.
Definitely. It's been a fun experience. Lots of lessons learned. Can't wait
Lots of
to
learning curves.
highlight.
Lots of learning
Um,
curves, right? And growing pains.
Exactly. Most definitely. Still growing, still learning. This next part, I'm going to let Christine take over. She played a very, very, very key part in the acquisition process and bridging the gap between a lot of our key partners in the deal.
Awesome. So I'm located in Florida, but my niece is a licensed agent in New Braunfels area, and she knew that I was looking for land opportunities. Back in, let's say the beginning of 2020, I was attending a webinar with one of the business partners. Her name is Erin Hudson, and it was all about short-term rental, but these shipping containers. And I had already been, let's say, intrigued by shipping containers here locally in my area in South Florida for several years. And when I attended this webinar and found out, wow, this is something that could be an awesome opportunity, especially with short-term rentals in 2020. And, of course, STR, what they say in short term, was a big thing that evolved through, COVID. So I was just having my niece be aware of any opportunities, and she had a relationship with the seller's representative for this particular property. And because of that relationship, and because we were able to, I guess, jump on the opportunity as quickly as we did, I was able to bring this to the partners, and we were able to put it under contract and obviously do due diligence. This asset is 4 acres and it is on Canyon Lake. One of the things that Lynn's going to bring up here in a few minutes, when it talks about developing the planning, the architect, the design, and building, is that it's not just you call up the city of, say, San Antonio and just say, hey, hook up my water. This was its own municipality. So one of the things we had to learn was dealing with its own city, which is, Canyon Lake. And back then, whenever we were purchasing the property, which we closed in May 2020, one of the things that took place at that time in Texas was snow. And it was like, wow. Of course, that's the weather that even took place this year. And because of that, there was a freeze and a lot of things got delayed because a lot of people couldn't go to work. So, let me go back to the broker relationship with that again, because I talk to people, right? Even just being a family member, being my niece, you've got to share with them, what it is that you're up to, because you never know what they're going to provide to you. And because of that, I was able to source and bring this opportunity to our partners. So Lynn, if you want to hop in and talk a little bit about, I guess, kind of the water.
Yeah, no. I don't know if anybody knows Canyon Lake well, but I kind of grew up on Canyon Lake because I went to college over here, and Canyon Lake is one of the few lakes that are around surrounding the San Antonio area. So it's a really prominent lake where families come and visit, and they go water sports, things like that, but not a lot of people own property around the lake. It's really only so big. And so to have a location where everyone can come out and rent for a night from a short-term rental aspect, to me is a unique experience in itself. What we did not anticipate for was what new development was going to look like and all the challenges pertaining to new development out in Comal County specifically. My husband and I, we've done fix and flips. We've dramatically added square footage. We've dramatically added, space to lots and things like that. So we understand permitting from, our specific area, which is Market, which is the city of San Antonio. None of that could have ever prepared us to what new development on Canyon Lake could have looked like. We had a vision, we had a business plan, we had an architect, we had a design, we had a build crew with materials and labor. We initiated the permitting for the build, which was also approved by Comal County. However, one of the biggest roadblocks that we had run into early on was related to the water system. When you're talking about utilities, you're talking about, your electricity, your water, things that are basic needs to provide, water and electricity to the property. Electricity wasn't a problem because there was already an easement on site. What was a trickier thing to consider was the water. Everyone on our street is on a well, but that was a roadblock for us because when we bought the property, it was 3 lots that we had combined into one. And technically, you can only have a singular well per lot. The only other avenues to get water was through the city of Canyon Lake. But the roadblock with going through getting city water is that you have to ask your neighbors for land rights to be able to do construction and lay piping down so that the city can approve an easement so that you can have a tap and a meter to run your water through. The alternative is to what we did initially was, hey, let's just bring in pre-treated water, because when you're talking about a government water system, what we didn't know was that, okay, if you're accommodating to more than 25 people on your property, you are considered a public water system if you have to have a setup for more than 25 people. Our property with the 27 units has the capacity to take on 75 people. But because we couldn't adhere to TCEQ rules and approvals yet, we could only launch, 12 units to accommodate to 25. So with that being said, what we're in the process of doing right now is we are engaging and consulting with a water engineering company who will then from there work on a plan and a design plan to create an expansion on what we already have to accommodate to 75 people. So what we currently have in place right now is a large 6,000 gallon water storage tank on site that provides water to the entire community, to the 12 units specifically. We need to triple up on that so that in turn we can create some redundancies and additional water to provide to the rest of the community. From there, there are other rules that we'll have to adhere to, including, you know, having a redundant pump in place, cross-connecting the water tanks and daisy chaining them so that in turn all the tiny homes have water. It is more so like a glamping community, and it's still more detached and unplugged from you know, city life, but there's a path to get there and we're in the process.
Yeah, and the last thing that you would want is for the guests to run out of water, right?
Of
Right.
course.
So we have the water hauler going out literally every single week to be able to top off the tank. And there has to be movement in the water in the tank too, because stagnant water builds bacteria. So those are a lot of these rules that we're adhering to with the process of this development.
How would you gauge how much water usage is going to be consumed with the, let's say, the 12 units that you're starting off with, and then building out to the providing water for 27 units?
So I've been gauging it by just monitoring how much water is delivered weekly. There is a smarter system. So with the public water system, we'll also be implementing a water sensor monitoring system that's a Wi-Fi based one, so that in turn we always know where water levels are at. As of right now, we're probably going through, you know, at least around 1,000 to 2,000 gallons per week. And that so far seems pretty much in line with what we were expecting.
Okay. And are these units equipped also with a little kitchenette or a cooking area?
Yes, definitely. I have some photos that I would love to share after we run through the slides
Okay,
quickly, and that way we can look through all of them together. But it's definitely has a little kitchenette. We provide an electric burner. We provide a little mini fridge, microwave, and all the basic utensils and pots and pans and whatnot. So it's not quite like camping in the wild, but it's it still combines modern day technology, housing, and decor with the elements outside your space.
right. That's great.
I think we talked a little bit about the team building piece, the organization piece. Oh, the organization piece with shared documents. We use Google Drives for everything, city permitting. We talked about TCEQ. The other thing that was also a component that we had to really, really discuss thoroughly as a team is understanding the operating agreement, so that in turn everybody understands the rules of operations and understanding, hey, this is definitely not like a multifamily syndication. Any sort of, you know, decisions or major decisions have to be collectively agreed upon as a group, because like nobody has ever done this type of property before. So we're all still learning together and figuring out what are the best next steps and decisions moving forward.
Right. Yeah. And one of the key things I think that you had on the side was just learning about all of the rules, city rules, locally, and knowing exactly what you can do and what you can't do, right? What's
Right.
the realm of this project and what's going to be excluded, because that may basically hinder what you're trying to do. So it's so important.
100%.
Yeah, it's so important to know the rules as far as what you can do, so that you can really expand on that as well and continue to, you know, implement what you're doing, and then also maybe grow and add to what you're doing.
So one of the things that I just want to hop in here real quick to say is, because of the weather at that time purchasing the property, you always have a time frame for due diligence. And at that time, because of the snow and the weather and the delays, it was really I wouldn't say challenging, but perhaps that it was, in getting the communication line, because like I said, because of the weather. So it was definitely, you know, here we are in 2023, and Lynn mentioned sourcing out the responsibilities and learning curves really played a factor into, you know, this property. But it's a super exciting project, and it's unique. So it's really awesome.
Mhm. Yeah, this is a really, it's that, like that saying, there's riches in the niches, right? So growing from this project, I think, it sounds like a really great opportunity.
For sure. Awesome.
It's been a lot of fun for sure. Jumping over to, so where we're at today is we have 12 units that are open out of the 27. Where I'm managing bookings on Airbnb, VRBO, Price Labs, Hospitable, PureSpace. My current goals are really to increase the listing rankings. And if anybody has ever done anything related to, Airbnb before, everything is about your listing ranking and where it falls on the list when you put in a general search for, whatever city you're going to. Airbnb has very, very specific things that they promote around your listing. So as long as you're following in what they're changing their business model to and how to gear your listing towards that, then your listing should slowly grow and higher on the list. The other thing that we're also looking for are just naturally click and views and wish list add-ons. So if anybody is ever looking to come to Canyon Lake and if they add your listing to as a wish list favorite, then that also increases and bumps up your listing on the list. Our phase 2 is going to be continue to working with our water engineering company, getting the TCEQ approvals for the phase 2 for the water and the septic, going through construction, opening everything out, and generally we're hoping that takes around the next 3 to 6 months. As we all know, in construction, that just means half time. So hopefully when I say 3 to 6 months, it'll be 6 to 9 months.
Right. Yeah. And we're having, with the different seasons changing, and we're seeing that, even in California, we're having warm weather up until October and even getting into November. So this will still be a great time for the opening of the 27 units, even if it is, later on at the ending of the year, or hopefully not, maybe the fourth quarter for you guys.
Yeah, surprisingly, yes, that is a great mention that short-term rentals generally have peaks and valleys, high seasons and low seasons. So you definitely want to optimize on the business plan based upon your high seasons. But we did actually have winter bookings, so it's not that it's unheard of and it's not completely dead, but there's definitely a peak in our revenue stream from the high seasons, from the spring to the summer. So we're really excited about this first spring and summer opening up.
Absolutely. Very exciting.
Other than that, I really just had our contact information in case anybody wanted to have a one-on-one conversation with us about anything related to real estate, finding your first deal, the short-term rental space. Christine and I have an abundance of experience relative to single family, multifamily, and also short-term rentals. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
I came late because I signed in and I couldn't get the thing, and then somehow I find out I have to copy and paste this link.
Nice to hear from you,
is-
Sam.
Yeah,
there
we're glad you're here.
Have you recorded it so you can send it to me, because I missed most of it?
Yes, it's being recorded, Sam. So once we've concluded the meeting, everyone on the call or anyone that registered, and even if you weren't on the call, you'll get the full video sent to you.
And you have my email, right?
Yes, because you registered.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Mhm. Did you have a question you'd like to ask right now? Okay, well, we are taking questions at this time. So if anybody on the call has any questions, we'd love to hear from you guys. We've got Lynn and Christine here with an abundance of knowledge and experience. They've been learning as they're growing into this project. And so this is a great time to ask any questions that you may have. We're always looking to learn more and there's no better way to do that than to collaborate with other experienced professionals in the real estate and investing world. So don't be shy.
I have some photos that I'm pulling up right now of the property.
It looks so peaceful and serene.
And these are just the professional photos that we got in. These are the ones that we'll use on our listings. And it's so beautiful and quiet and peaceful. It's just
So now,
a-
are they a two-story? Is each unit a two-story? Is it like
yes.
a loft style?
It is. So the upper, so we have shipping containers on the bottom row, and then basically these, let me see. This one shows it best. So these are actually tiny built homes, and they're double deckers where there's a studio on the top, and then it's a one bedroom, a full one bedroom at the bottom. The shipping containers are all studios, so they're completely separate, but what we did was we combined the upper and lower so that people could rent both upper and lower stories at the same time.
Okay, so would you say there's maybe a capacity of about 4 people for the loft on the top and the one bedroom on the bottom?
Yes, for the combined, yes, 4 people.
Okay.
So funny thing that you mentioned that we do technically, if we really were to maximize on occupancy on any single building, we would most definitely have gone through the avenue of creating the one bedroom with a fold out sofa in the living room. But because we are still under review with TCEQ and we're mandated to stay under the 25 person occupancy at any point in time, we didn't want to leave any sort of room to get a violation notice. So that's something that we'll plan on down the line when our capacity is approved at 75 versus the 25.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last thing you want is a violation.
Exactly.
Those are not fun.
Not fun at all. But other than that, I mean, the insides of the units are pretty modernly decorated. We have luxury vinyl floors. Let me see if I can get a photo of the kitchen here.
Yeah, it looks like a very well apportioned tiny home.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when you're vacationing, you're out on excursions, you may be out on the lake, you're going out for walks and hikes. So you're not even spending a ton of time inside the unit. And a lot of times you're paying an arm and a leg for it, but you're, maybe 60 or 70% of your time is going to be spent outdoors.
Right, right. And I think the idea is, hey, we're also partnered up with wineries in the area and whatnot with private drivers based upon a schedule request. So the idea is, hey, enjoy the outdoors, enjoy the area, enjoy the hill country, and come back and have somewhere to stay that has, air conditioning or a heater and amenities that are adequate for your stay.
Yeah, and I think you just hit on one of the main things that people are looking for, and it's the comfort.
Yeah.
If it means paying a little bit more because you're going to be near a pool or you're going to have access to maybe walking distance to the beach, you're going to have that more personalized service where you may have a pickup and a drop off conveniently scheduled for you. Those are things that vacationers are willing to pay just a little bit more for because of the convenience level.
Perfect. Yep. And that's the property.
Yay.
Wow, that is so exciting. Congratulations.
Thank you. Should we drop the Airbnb links for anybody that's traveling to Canyon Lake in the next 2 months?
I would say definitely. So I'm gonna go ahead and load that in the chat box if you can. Let's see. Kathy Brown says she's a real estate broker and wants to get started in investing. Christine, okay, great, Kathy. Let's see. Captain Bob, I'm not sure if he's on the call. He says he may have somebody that was interested. He's primarily investing in multifamily on the Florida East Coast.
he may have someone interested. Bob, did you want to mention a little bit about that? Someone interested, what, in coming to stay? Or someone interested?
Oh, I think it looks like he's interested in a deal that was posted, a
Oh,
multifamily.
okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I would definitely put the links here in the chat for anybody that would like to share it. This video is going to be streamed online through social media and also YouTube. So I think putting the links on here is, we'll go ahead and copy that and include that in the video.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so I'm going to actually copy this link and save it here. So we'll get that on the video.
Another thing I think, Lynn, that you were mentioning there is, like you said, the micro weddings for people to, in any kind of retreat, I guess any kind of
Corporate
group retreat.
retreats, yep.
That's another one. And there's a concert, I think recently coming up, is it Willie Nelson?
Yeah.
That's another
Wow.
thing that, attracts, again, I think when you think of short term in general, it's just more about what the area attracts and what it brings, besides the quietness and the stargazing.
Right, because sometimes you might even have people in the area that just want to get out of their own space.
Sure.
Now that we've been with COVID for so long, a lot of us are still working out of our home. And just even though, obviously we have more, we're not in necessarily the lockdown situation, but we are working from home. And so you might even have local prospects that are looking to do a staycation and they can take advantage of this opportunity.
Well, thank you so much for having us, and we are glad that we were able to present it. And if there's any questions, like you said, that we can help anybody with, I think Lynn showed our contact information. If you needed me to put it in the chat again, I don't know, but anybody else have any questions we can help answer, since we've got probably about another 5 minutes?
Yeah, we do have a few minutes. So anybody with any questions, we'll take them now before our call is over. Christine, okay, you put so Christine, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, what would be a good number to reach you?
Sure, I can put it in here as well. And I'll just spell it out here. 305-318-6366 is my direct line.
Okay, I'm including this on my notes here where I'm saving all the links that you uploaded in the chat.
Excellent.
So let's see. So you have so much experience in investing. What are some of the challenges, just to generalize, what are some of the challenges that you experienced when you first got started? You were cold calling, you were using the Mike Ferry script. So you were really, digging in and doing that prospecting that people, or I should say agents, don't really like to do, but it's something we have to do in order to grow our business, right?
I've been doing it since 2006, mostly, probably. So yeah, I've been hammered a few times by some owners. Yeah, and I've been hung up on, but that
Correct.
doesn't change my life, nor will it change my day. So you just have to realize that, because it's just something that's going on, and sales is just like anything. It's a contact sport, right? More people you
Right.
lead on, the more yeses you'll get to. So
Yeah, it's
the
definitely
investing
a numbers
side is more since 2000. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying that it's definitely a numbers game.
Yeah, for sure. And in the investing side is more since I started in 2015. It was actually a Mike Ferry agent. We used to role play before we would get on the phone, and he and I became friends. And here we are, what was it, 9-10 years later. He says, hey, I'm investing in single family fix and flips locally. And do you and your business partner want to meet up and learn a little bit about what I'm doing? And we did. And obviously, as time goes on, market changes, the pie and the relationship of the partnership kind of changes as far as the structure. So
Sure.
we still invest today. We still, communicate. I would say more on the capital side and the acquisition side, and they handle more of the day-to-day and the rehab. So from there, obviously selling multifamily all these years, I sold it to so many people, and I realized, wow, why didn't I invest in some of these opportunities?
Right.
2019, got the opportunity to invest. The first deal was over 500 units in Dallas, Texas.
Wow.
And through that, we went through a full cycle. So basically means that the operator purchased the property, did their business plan, left meat on the bone for the next, let's say, buyer, and successfully we closed on that property. So we purchased it in November, actually, 2019, and then we sold it in May of 2022. And again, what I call is a full cycle. So we got our money, our investment that we made, plus our profit, plus the distributions that we made. So it was a great opportunity to invest with that group. And hey, anytime you can invest with an operator that they do what they say they're going to do is always a good thing.
Right.
So for sure, nothing bad to say about that. So investing in multifamily, whether it's a JV opportunity or something local, for sure, having boots on the ground, someone to walk the property and make sure the day-to-day is actually happening is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you said it, as far as, you know, whatever you say that you're going to do, it's so important that you execute that, because
Absolutely.
your word is your bond.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, even as let's call it real estate agents or even investors, and you're having to deal with tough situations and tough topics and tough conversations, you still have to have them head on, right?
Yes. And you have to approach them also with the confidence, because knowing that you have that experience, you can have that difficult conversation, which in turn is actually going to gain you more of that respect with your client and with your peers.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just communication. It's just, delivering it in the right way. But obviously, look, no one wants to enjoy delivering, challenging news, but the fact that you're communicating, I think, is key with everything.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having us. Lynn and I, thank you so much for allowing us to share the opportunity of the container retreat at Canyon Lake. Always a pleasure to hang out with you and Annabelle and Bill until we see each other, I guess, next time.
Thank you, Christine. And thank you, Lynn, for joining us today, and for everybody on the call.